If you've watched Minions and Despicable Me, you know that it's one of the most amazing franchises in the world of animation. But did you know that in the upcoming Gru and the Yellow Creatures films, several mysteries will finally be resolved? How did Vector return to Earth? All the endings of Illumination movies always conclude with a cool song and lots of people dancing. However, at the end of Despicable Me 4, we discover that Vector is back on planet Earth, safe and sound, once again performing his hilarious dance moves. What's more, both he and his father are imprisoned under the AVL's jurisdiction. But not too long ago, in the short film Mooned, we noticed that although 14 years have passed between the end of Despicable Me and the Illumination short, what happens on the moon occurs shortly after the end of the first Gru movie. A rescue team of minions goes into space to fetch their friend, who ended up there thanks to the anti-gravity serum developed by Dr. Nefario in the first film. After many funny moments, we see that both the minions and Vector end up on Mars. However, Gru's minions hitch a ride with a little alien while the villain refuses and is left behind completely devastated.
You're an idiot!
So, how exactly did the villain manage to travel 169 million miles wearing only underwear and a space helmet? Did the little alien come back to take the long-nosed guy back to Earth? Or did Mr. Perkins organize a rescue mission for his son, and when they landed on Earth, the AVL was waiting for them? This is undoubtedly one of the stories I most want to see told in the upcoming Minions and Despicable Me films, don't you think? And there's no shortage of mysteries waiting to be unraveled in the next movies with Gru and the Minions. To find out what they are, join us as we start another episode of Cinewave. Where is Dru? Almost as mysterious as Vector's return to Earth is the absence of our favorite villain's twin brother, Dru. Like most Gru movie fans, you probably found the unknown relative who popped up in the ex-villain's life quite endearing and got along well with him and the whole family. At the end of the movie, we saw that after the credits, Gru's long-haired brother runs off with a group of minions to commit villainous acts. Lucy and her husband give them a few minutes head start before starting the chase. The lingering question is, did Gru and Lucy really capture the minions and Dru and imprison them in the AVL? Or are they still out there, flying around in their aircraft, trying to commit crimes? After all, we didn't see them on Gru's ship at any point in the fourth movie. Or did Dru return to Fredonia to live his life as a wealthy pig farmer with no supervillain aspirations? This is undoubtedly something that will be answered in the upcoming films already in development by Illumination. Why don't the girls ever grow up? Have you ever noticed that over the past 14 years, neither Margot, Edith, nor Agnes has grown even a little bit? This is something that intrigues many fans of the animations. We know that several successful cartoons always keep their characters the same size and age, such as Peppa Pig and The Simpsons. However, in other animations, we see characters grow and celebrate birthdays, like Riley in Inside Out and Bluey. Many years ago, the creators of Minions and Gru mentioned that the franchise's idea was for the characters not to age. However, at the end of the first film, featuring Kevin, Stuart, and Bob, we see the mini-boss appear, revealing that the franchise would show younger characters like Gru, his mother, and Dr. Nefario. Moreover, between the third and fourth film, not only did Lucy spend 9 months pregnant, but Gru Jr. is already crawling, indicating that at least a year and a half has passed between the two films. So the question remains whether the girls will continue to remain the same size forever, or if we'll see them grow in age, which would be more normal now that Gru Jr. has appeared. After all, he can't stay a baby forever. If you're a fan of Minions and Gru, prove it to us by commenting #Bob below in honor of the cutest minion of all. What's the relationship between Dr. Nefario and the principal? When Gru and his son go to his old school to help Poppy kidnap the school mascot, we notice a picture of the principal and our beloved Dr. Nefario inside the principal's office. The relationship between the oldest person working with Gru and his former principal is never explained. Could they be related, like siblings or cousins? Or is it something more? Maybe they were old lovers? Whatever the relationship is between the two, it automatically makes us wonder, did Dr. Nefario help Gru get a spot at the supervillain school? After all, we see in Minions 2 that Gru attends a regular school, but at some point he goes to villain school, where he meets his arch-rival, Maxime Le Mal. All of this is undoubtedly tied to the mystery of the relationship between these two old-timers of the villain world. Where is Knuckles? We all know that Gru was raised without his father's presence since he moved to Fredonia and took his twin brother Dru with him. Knuckles appeared in the franchise to fill the role of mentor and guardian for our favorite villain. However, when we first meet the former leader of the Vicious Six, we see that he's not that young, despite being able to pull off some cool moves. Using Dr. Nefario as a reference, who was younger than Knuckles in the movie and now looks over 100 years old, we can deduce that good old Knuckles is even older if he's still alive. But if he's not alive, where was he buried? Given that a coffin full of bananas was placed in his place at his funeral, we might discover all of this in Minions 3, don't you think? Where is Minion 900? Since Despicable Me was released in 2010, one of the most debated topics has been the exact number of minions in the world. A few years ago, the franchise's creators revealed that the exact number of yellow creatures currently is 899. That's a very specific number, wouldn't you agree? For this reason, we can deduce that maybe, at some point in the past, this number was slightly higher, and there was a minion number 900. However, some theories, as we explained in another video on our channel, suggest that it wasn't just any minion, but a female minion, the only one of her kind, who left the other 899 because they were too silly and she was very intelligent. If this is true, we don't know yet, but we could certainly discover in Minions 3 if a minion number 900 really exists. Who started the fight, Gru or Maxime Le Mal? In Despicable Me 4, we see that the rivalry between Gru and Maxime dates back to their teenage years when both were seeking popularity in their school. Gru mentions that Maxime pulled down his pants at some point during their school years, embarrassing him in front of the whole school. It seems this happened because Gru sang the same song that the cockroach villain was going to perform in the school's talent show. In other words, it was revenge. The question remains, did Gru steal Maxime's performance on purpose? Or was it just a coincidence, and Maxime took revenge even though Gru was not guilty? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you're not yet subscribed, hit the subscribe button and join our group of animation and film fans. Will Gru Jr. become a villain? In Despicable Me 3, something we already knew was reaffirmed. Gru and Drew descend from an ancient lineage of supervillains. This was shown in the first movie when we saw Gru looking at his family tree after leaving his new daughter's room. So we know that this won't be the fate of Margot, Edith, and Agnes, but we can't say the same for the new family member. We notice that the little baby takes pleasure in causing some mischief with his father throughout the movie, even though they get along in the end. Still, it's inevitable to wonder, will Gru Jr. continue his family's centuries-old legacy? Or will he follow his mother's and father's path and become a supervillain hunter? This is something we will undoubtedly see in the upcoming films. How did Gru's father die? Similarly, we see in the franchise's third film that Gru's father is no longer alive, even though he kept tabs on his other son's villainous activities from afar. However, at no point do we see Drew reveal the cause of Robert Gru's, the two characters' fathers, death. This leaves open the possibility that maybe, just maybe, he did what El Macho did many years ago, and what Knuckles also did, faking his death to carry out personal plans. So, who knows, we might get a surprise in Despicable Me 5 with the discovery that Robert might still be alive and causing havoc somewhere. He might even be watching Gru's family from a distance. That would definitely be cool. What happened between the third and fourth film? Right at the beginning of Despicable Me 4, we see Gru with a beautiful and fast car. This makes us wonder if Gru, who barely had money to pay the bills after being fired from the AVL, managed to bounce back. We also see him leading an invasion team to capture Maxime, indicating that he now holds a leadership position in the anti-villain league. We're curious to know which villains Gru captured between the third and fourth films of the franchise, and what great achievements he and Lucy have accomplished since then. This is something I want to discover. Perhaps some flashbacks will show us all this in Despicable Me 5. The video is ending, but you can still have fun with us by choosing one of the videos appearing for you right now. Just click on the one you prefer and keep watching videos made by fans, for fans, of cartoons and animations.